Oh my goodness. Hi. Good morning. Yo. Oh my goodness, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Hi. I apologize for being a little discombobulated. Discombobulated. Who are these things? The joys of live streaming. The joys of live streaming. Hi, I think today my audio is working really well. Yeah, I think my audio is working very well today. I'm very happy. I had so many. What is going on with this microphone? Yeah, I think that the microphone is working. Everything's working. Yes? You can hear me. Sometimes I don't know what happens with these microphones and all this stuff. It's so bizarre. It's like I work on it and then it just changes its own settings. I don't know. Let's try it. No. I think now it's working. I think now it is working. Working. So why don't you create a visionary? How are you? How are ya? How are ya? I've been working on this microphone. Oh, it's the virtual camera. Hold on. Okay. There we go. There we go. Every time I tried this vertical camera. And then when I put on the vertical camera, it's like the sound goes weird. It's so bizarre. It's like every time I change something or upgrade something, so bizarre. The joys of live streaming. So how are you? Is all well with you? Let us be centered in this moment together. I think because I was a little bit I have a beautiful shave today, you know? It's like skin perfect, shave perfect. And you are perfect in your own unique way with all of your imperfections. You are perfection. You are perfection. And I think it's so important for us to know that about ourselves. It's so important for us to know that about ourselves. Because who can define perfection? Who can, honestly, let's have a conversation, chitty chat, a little bit meditation. Who can define perfection? Who can say you are perfect and you are not perfect? According to whose standards? According to whose definition? So, in this moment, I would like for us to sit with perfection. Sit with perfection, our own perfection, our own idea of perfection. In our imperfections. Sit with that. Okay? So let's take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Please close your eyes. Please make sure that your eyes are closed. And I would like for us to just sit with the idea of perfection. As you keep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, in through the nose and out through the mouth, I'd really love for us to sit with this idea of perfection. And remember a time when you tried to be perfect. Please make sure that you keep your eyes closed. Lift your eyes to the center of your forehead and just focus on that area. And just remember a time when you had this idea of perfection. I needed to be perfect. Go back into a time in your life. It doesn't matter whether it was perfection towards school, perfection towards your body, perfection towards your spiritual practice, perfection in your relationships, with your finances, with your career, any part of this idea of perfection. Just remember that time where you just felt not good enough because you weren't perfect at what you thought perfection looked like. So you first started with the idea of perfection. This is what perfection looks like. And then I'd like you to just look at when perfection didn't work. And this idea of perfection didn't turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out. I'd like you to examine the shame, the guilt, the fear of being found out that you're not perfect, the embarrassment, the overwhelm. But more than anything, I'd like for you to examine the shame. The shame. Please make sure that you keep your eyes closed and keep breathing. The shame. And just sit with that. feeling, sensation, understanding towards yourself, and possible compassion towards yourself. For noticing how much pressure you put on yourself to be perfect. And how much self-harm you inflicted upon yourself when you couldn't achieve this idealistic notion of perfection. Just be with yourself in that moment. Without shaming yourself any more than you already shame yourself. Without judging yourself any more than the amount of judgment that you already put on yourself. Please make sure that you keep your eyes closed, keep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just sit in that shame, that guilt, possible self-compassion, possible self-understanding, possible self-hatred. Whatever it is, just sit with it. As I give you a transmission. Om Tare Tutare Om Tare Tutare Ture Soham. 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 Inviting the loving compassion of Kuan Yin, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Inviting the wisdom and love of Sekhmet with her fierce dedication to our spiritual practice and our spiritual devotional path to help us with the war we have within ourselves, to love the divine within ourselves, to accept the divine within ourselves, so that we could release this idea of war within ourselves for the divine presence that we already are. Inviting Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene with such grace and compassion and such wisdom and such spiritual authority and leadership to teach us how to love divine presence within ourselves and to accept that divine presence as ourselves. Inviting Osset to help us heal the parts of ourselves that have abandoned ourselves because we believe we're not divine. We believe we are outside of divinity. Inviting Kalima to slay the heads of demons within our being, within our auric field, that keep us separate from our divinity, because we are not separate. We cannot be separate. We are the face of divinity. We are the face of love itself. So any parts of us that feel ashamed, we lovingly, with the help of Kuan Yin, bring them into integration with so much self-compassion, knowing that those parts of us just need our loving attention so that they can evolve and bring the gifts that they inherently contain within themselves. So I'm so thankful for this moment together. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Please just look at the part of you that feels ashamed for not being perfect, and quietly say to that part of you, I love you. To me, you did the best you could. I love you. I appreciate you for trying so hard. I love you. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Now please open up your eyes. Yes. Thank you for being here with me today. Shall we read? Today is a heavy topic. Heavy. That's why I started off with shame. Day 72. Spiritual life. The betrayal of spiritual commitment. I have not committed adultery. Sister Catherine kneels in the chapel at dawn, her face serene in meditation, while her heart burns with secret longing for Father Miguel. For months, she's maintained her vows of celibacy while cultivating an emotional and spiritual affair that violates her sacred commitment to divine service. Their late-night conversations about theology have become intimate exchanges that betray her covenant with God and community. Her nervous system lives in constant tension between spiritual commitment and human desire. The sanctuary that once felt like home now feels like a prison where she performs devotion, while her authentic spiritual life fragments under the weight of divided loyalty. Her body holds the shame of loving in ways that violate her deepest spiritual commitments. Spiritual adultery occurs when we betray our sacred commitments through divided loyalty, secret spiritual relationships, or pursuing spiritual connection in ways that violate our deepest covenants. Our nervous system attempts to manage multiple spiritual realities, creating compartments that fragment our authentic spiritual life. Embodiment practice. Sit in prayer or meditation position and feel into any area where your spiritual life feels divided or secretive. Place your hands on your heart and ask, where do I betray my spiritual commitments through divided loyalty? And say, I choose spiritual integrity as my deepest devotion to truth and sacred service. Okay. Let's read again. Sister Catherine kneels in the chapel at dawn, her face serene in meditation, while her heart burns with secret longing for Father Miguel. For months, she maintains her vows of celibacy while cultivating an emotional and spiritual affair that violates her sacred commitment to divine service. Her late-night conversations about theology have become intimate exchanges that betray her covenant with God and community. Okay. So let's have a conversation. Hold on. Let me have my coffee. If you've got a drink, today would be a good day. Or right now would be a good time to drink because we're going to go real deep. Okay. Let's have a conversation. Use me, Spirit, in the most loving, gentle, compassionate way. I am open and receptive. Thank you. Okay. All of us are Sister Catherine. in some way. I remember growing up and going to church. Going to church. My whole life is about church. Spiritual practice. And going to church and seeing a boy and loving the boy, or having daydreams about marrying that boy and the children we would have and the life we would have. I'm not sure who has not gone to their synagogue, their temple, their mosque, their church, and has not fallen in love with someone from the age of what? Maybe from the age of 5 until 40. Yes. All of us have participated in adultery. Because community in these spiritual places, in these religious places, are where we sell to each other, we do business with each other. This is adultery. We learn emotional intelligence by scratching each other's eyes and, fighting during choir practice, during women's meeting, during men's meetings. Emotional intelligence. We learn communication. We learn to cook together. When I was going to church in South Africa, growing up, the mothers used to cook maybe once a quarter, maybe once a month sometimes. There would be celebrations at church. Maybe there's Heritage Day, and we would celebrate South African heritage and all the different tribes and cultures. And then the mothers would cook, they would come to church on Saturday and cook. And then Sunday, everybody would have lunch at church, all the different foods from the different tribes and the different cultures. During the cooking, people were fighting. People would look at each other like sideways. So we were learning how to communicate during that experience. So community and these churches and these places of spiritual practice are where we learn how to be human, are where we learn how to love, how to be in community, how to be love. I remember there were 2 boys that I liked at church. And if you think about it from this context of Sister Catherine, that means I would have committed spiritual adultery, because I was at church to pray and to expand my relationship with this idea of God consciousness. But if God is love, why can't I love at church? Why can't I love a boy at church? This is where people meet each other and marry each other. A lot of these churches where people meet each other and marry each other. But now, because we're not going to church anymore, we're meeting each other on Tinder and Bumble and all sorts of these places. Right? But before, we used to meet each other at these churches or at these synagogues, mosques, temples, places of worship. It becomes interesting when it is the nuns. When I was a nun, Mechi Tembi, Nun Tembi, there was a nun that disrobed because she had fallen in love with someone. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Honestly, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with falling in love. The adultery and the violation or the misalignment of sacred law is when you continue on a path that you know is no longer for you. So if you know that you have fallen in love and you had previously made a commitment to being a nun or to being a monk or to being a preacher and a pastor, at least preachers and pastors can get married, which I think is somewhat healthy. It is healthy, okay? Because then you can do your thing. But you can be in relationship, have sex, and still awaken into your divinity. What I love about the Buddhist path and about the Catholic path of nun and priest and nun and monk is that it's, for me, my understanding, it's the most rigorous path to full awakening. Okay, that could be debated. Because on that path, you remain celibate. So you are not relying on your wife or your husband to fill that space of love. I shared last week about my rock star, Their Holiness the Dalai Lama. He left Tibet and went to India. That journey, while being, persecuted by the Chinese, that journey of leaving his home and making a home, building a home in a new country, was a rigorous journey. Emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, I can't imagine. And being in exile, it's a, as the young people would say, it's a mind F. It's a mind F. It's a spiritually rigorous journey. He had the Buddha because he's Tibetan Buddhist. But he also has Grindhara, which is the feminine, divine feminine, which helps him balance this awakening experience. And I would suppose that as he was making his journey from Tibet, being persecuted by the Chinese, he needed to develop that level of sensitivity to his intuition through the divine feminine. So this is why the path for monks and nuns and priests who are walking the straight and narrow celibate path is a rigorous path. It's no joke. It's no joke. So that's why I value the Buddhist path and the Buddhist tradition, because they honor the divine feminine within their own being. Because without honoring both the masculine and the divine feminine, we start projecting this need for balance, energetic balance within our own being for the masculine and the feminine onto others. So I'm not really sure that Sister Catherine understands this. Because if she is no longer interested in being a nun, but she has made her vows, she has got community looking at her. She has got her family looking at her. And the parish looking at her, because as human beings, we like to keep people in a box. I remember saying to the nun that I was ordained with, girl, if you don't want to be a nun anymore, go. Follow thy heart. You've served enough. You've awoken to a level where you have served enough. Leave. Disrobe. Go and live your life. Fall in love. Kiss. Have sex. Have children if you want. Go on vacation. Wear short skirts. Go to the beach. She had never been to the beach. She had never worn a swimsuit. And I was like, do whatever you want. But programming and social expectation and family expectation and the vows we take keep us in a box. I think that's why people don't understand me. And I am a little bit of an alien to most people. I don't live in a box. I will never live in a box. I won't. Nobody can put me in a box. Why? I've shared with people that I've been a nun, and they're like, but you're married. How could you be a nun? I say, I am whatever I want to be. I've been walking this path for so long, 19 years. By the time I decided to ordain as a nun, it was my celebration and my graduation. Like, oh my God, I finally made it. You can be whatever you want. If you have made commitments to serving divinity as a nun, as a monk, or, a priest, and you come to a point in your life where you're like, this no longer serves me. I've grown enough. I've enjoyed my time enough of service. You can say to yourself, I'm done with this. Thank you very much. I disrobe. But the problem is we are afraid of people who are going to shame us. But I don't understand. You said you were a nun. Why are you now not wanting to be a nun? Because I've chosen not to be a nun anymore? Why is it your problem? How about you worry about your business? But what? Why are we in other people's businesses when we should be looking at our own businesses, our own shames? This is why I started today with this idea of let us look at our shame. And this idea of perfection. We hold spiritual leaders to such a standard because of our own projections to these people. Well, you said you are a nun. I don't understand. Why now do you want to not be a nun? Why is it my job to make sure that you are comfortable in your life and your ideas of what I should be and should not be? But when you start asking human beings these kinds of questions, you see that they'd never even thought of this idea. Because for so long, religious dogma has said people in uniform, people in spiritual positions need to be treated differently, possibly. Yes, they do need to be respected because of their spiritual walk. That is a rigorous path. But they are still human. They live in a human body. Their spirit still can choose different and say, you know what, I have had my fun. I have learned what I needed to learn. I take with me what I have mastered within me through my spiritual practice into the next evolutionary journey of my life experience, but I can change my mind. I met quite a few monks, disrobed monks in India, and they were sharing their path. They're like, I started as a monk very, very young, and then I decided to disrobe. And I said, how was your transition back into they call it lay life, normal life? They're like, it was very difficult because people know you as this, and then all of a sudden when you decide not to, they say you're fake. How am I fake? Because I decided to change my mind. A fake nun, fake monk, fake priest. How is it that somebody is not allowed to change their minds? Because we project this idea of perfection onto others because we cannot find the perfection within ourselves. Because we are filled with shame for the parts of us that are imperfect. especially when it comes to sexuality. If Sister Catherine now has got feelings, is she not human? Can she not change her mind one day and say, you know what, I really want to have sex. I want to enjoy this body of mine. And I want to have sex. I want to enjoy having sex. I'm sorry, I got to disrobe. I got to go have sex and just live out my sexual experiences. Why is it only you people who come to church or the parish or your temples can enjoy the experience of sex, and when Sister Catherine now decides, no, I don't want to be a nun anymore and live in celibacy, I want to now go and enjoy sex, you want to judge her? Let's ask these questions. Because you haven't come into wholeness and acceptance of the sacredness of your own sexuality. Which has been through years, hundreds of years of religious shaming towards the body. There is such a huge energy around sex and religion. It is so bizarre. But you have a body. And you have sexual organs. Why the shame? It is the shame that creates the traumas, the sexual traumas in religion and spiritual organizations. It is this idea of I need to be perfect, which you don't even know what perfection is. So not you, but we are seeing a lot of spiritual people, spiritual leaders, even political leaders who are being exposed for their sexual escapades. And it's like scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. Why? Because we're dealing with 2 to 5 year olds who haven't even begun to understand their own sexual organs, number one. And number two, the sacredness of sex and the power of the creative force of sexual energy. This is humans, 2 to 5 years old. Sex is still like, oh, did you hear? What is wrong with having sex? What is wrong with Sister Catherine going, I no longer want to be a nun. I want to wear short skirts and a bikini and go to the beach and kiss a boy. What is wrong with this? I remember when I was having a conversation with the nun, and just the idea of me wearing pink eyelashes, and was like, you can't do that. I said, why can't I do that? The idea of me dancing. She was like, you can't do that. I'm like, why? Why can't I dance? What is wrong with this? Is my body. Energy is moving in my body. God is alive in my body. Divinity is all that I am. And as I move my body temple, God is going, yes, cosmic orgasm. I remember the face. It was kind of like I had killed someone. Human beings, how do you think you were conceived? Unless you were conceived in a test tube, the likelihood of you being conceived was your mother and your father having sex. Sex. Even the nuns and the monks were conceived this way. Even the priests were conceived this way. But there is so much shame around this idea of sex because we have dirtied sex. But maybe if we can have a conversation about sacred sexuality, then sex has more, not sacredness, yes, sacredness, but more honor. More honor. Let's continue reading. Sit with that. Okay? Perfection. Shame. Sacred sexuality. Love. Let's just sit with that. Okay? Her late night conversations about theology have become intimate exchanges that betray her covenant with God and community. Sister Catherine, I think, honey bun, you really just need to go have sex. Fall in love, madly in love, hold hands, kiss, sit on a bench and share ice cream with a man, and explore that part of you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with changing your mind and saying, yeah, I this path is no longer for me. I want to grow in a different area of my life. As you notice, we focus on 5 areas of our lives: our spirituality, our relationships, our finances, our mental health, and our physical body. So sometimes you can start off in the spiritual sphere and master it, and be so devoted to your spiritual sphere that you are underdeveloped in the other areas of your life. And then maybe the call of your spirit will say, maybe it's time for you to go get developed in another area of your life. It doesn't mean that you completely abandon your spiritual practice and become a hoe. It just means you are aware. Wow, I learned a lot about my spiritual practice, about God, about sacred service, about sacred community. Now maybe I want to go learn and explore about my body. And in exploring body and relationship and finances, I am going to explore sacred sexuality, love expressed through relationship, without shame. What a novel concept. What a novel concept. Okay. Her nervous system lives in constant tension between spiritual commitment and human desire. You are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body. In a human body. And I think this is why religion is collapsing. Organized religion is collapsing. I'm not saying that it might collapse in the next 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's slowly the idea, the story. We are emerging into sacred spiritual practice where we honor our body. We honor our brain and our mind. We honor our emotions. We honor our journey here on planet Earth. We do not disengage from the body because we're waiting to go to a heaven someday, somewhere. So, I'm just going to disengage from my body. My body's a sin. My body, like, what the fuck? Your soul created your body for you to explore and be in love with this body. This body brings life. This body is the presence of divinity itself. How could you disconnect the body with the brain and the mind, waiting one day to go to this heavenly place? Maybe you die and you remain here and you're in a hell realm, but you're still in the body, are you not? Where did we get these ideas? They're very strange. Religious programming. It's been many, many, many centuries of religious programming. And we've all tried to be perfect in front of divinity. And yet divinity is just saying to itself, as you, please listen, please hear, to itself as you, I created you. I love you. I created you. I love you as you are on this amazing journey of discovering yourself as me. I cannot know myself but through you exploring and discovering yourself. This is how I get to know myself. This is how I get to experience sacred union, sacred sexuality. What do we think God is? Some man in the sky with a long beard handing out Christmas presents? But these are the ideas that have been indoctrinated into us for many, 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 many years. So the idea of sacred sexuality, the idea of loving your body and being in your body and knowing that your body is the presence of divinity is like, whoa, prostitute, witch. The nature of human. The nature of human. We are very young. Our consciousness is very, very young on this planet. 2 years. I think some souls are not even 2 years old. They're like still in diapers, yet they're having children. They are having sex, yet their consciousness is still diaper consciousness. And they are having sex and bringing children into this world. How did you bring this child that is your child? Yet your consciousness cannot even fathom the idea of sacred sexuality. What are you doing bringing children into this world? It's amazing. It's amazing. But here we are. Human desire. Let's start like this. When you understand that you are the presence of divinity, love itself, human desire is no longer filth. It is elevated to a state of, I am a spiritual being. God cannot experience itself but through and as me. So the desires of my heart are the desires of God consciousness seeking to express themselves as life through and as me. The desire for my body to move, the desire for my body to dance, the desire for my body to experience ecstasy is the universe, is this idea called God, is energy just moving through and as me as love, as joy, as bliss, as all good, as all good. When you live from that perspective, you can say, okay, thank you very much. I have enjoyed my time in developing my spiritual body, my spiritual sphere of life. I can take that journey, the learning, the growth, the experience, the evolution I have experienced as dedicated to my spiritual practice, whether you were a nun or not. Maybe you're a devout Christian or devout Catholic, devout Buddhist, and take all of that learning and all of that growth and then use not the rules, but the alignment, let's say alignment with life and the knowledge of that alignment with life, right? So let's say for Sister Catherine, celibacy. She's going to learn, what she learned from celibacy is honoring the sacred body temple. So even when she's dating and she decides to leave the parish and no longer be a nun anymore, she's not going to go and give herself away to any random man and get diseases, because she understands inherently that her body is sacred. But now that she's having these feelings, oh, Father Miguel, oh, darling, oh, sexiness, oh, daddy, she needs to get out. She needs to get out and honor that divinity is now awakening through her as that level of I need to express myself sexually now. And give herself permission. Disrobe. Not a big deal. But will she disrobe? Maybe not. Why? Because maybe she's got people that are going to look at her and say, now you're going to go be a heathen. Let me be a heathen. Let this sister Catherine be a heathen and enjoy her sexual experiences. Why not? Why not? Why should she stay in a box for the rest of her life and not experience her sexual growth? Why not? This is her body. Her soul needs to expand in a different form. But it's because we humans, we like to judge each other. Did you hear? Sister Catherine now has left. She's going to go have sex. None of your business. Mind your own damn business. You got your own issues that you need to work on. And maybe you need to go be a nun for a little bit. I'm just saying. Honor the nervous system. Honor the body. When you know that you are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body, your human desires are not just now human desires at very low levels of consciousness. They are spiritual desires. They are God coming through you. They are the presence of love, the presence of divinity expressing itself through your body temple. Sex becomes sacred. Love making becomes sacred. The birthing of children becomes a sacred experience of bringing God into this world. The way we then talk with our spouses during love making, the way we hug each other, love each other, care for each other, it's not vulgar. We understand that I am making love to the divine. This is why I love Rumi's poetry so much, because he fell in love with God because of a heartbreak. And he recognized the divine is my beloved, which was the heartbreak. You don't need to have a heartbreak to understand this. But maybe sometimes we do need to have heartbreaks to understand this. And maybe sometimes our heartbreak is just getting out of religious dogma and awakening to the truth that it's not the rules that we need. It's an understanding of who and what we are on this planet. An awakening to that allows us to engage in a more conscious, sacred way. I think there would be less rape. Honestly, I really think there would be less rape if we understood this. There would be less relational violence. Because you would first understand, oh, I love myself so much as divinity, because divinity created itself as me. Sure. God could not know itself but through and as me. This thing called life, this intelligence, this wisdom called God, could not know itself but through and as me. Okay, let's start there. And from that perspective, I walk around in this world and I engage with souls and recognize I am engaging with divinity. How could you want to then rape someone if you understood that you are engaging with divinity? You would just want to love, because the love that is within you would want to just love that other human. Because you, honestly, they're not really just human. They are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body on this planet. How would you want to harm someone else? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. But most human beings are walking around without the idea and the knowledge that they are truly spiritual beings, number one. Number two, they're walking around with this idea here on planet Earth that They need to be perfect. What is perfection? Who defines perfection? Who are these people that define perfection? And so when they fail to achieve this idea of perfection, they live in so much shame. They are willing to do all sorts of strange things, harming others. It is quite interesting. Okay? The sanctuary that once felt like home now feels like a prison where she performs devotion while her authentic spiritual life fragments under the weight of divided loyalty. How could she not? She's praying there. Oh, when Father Miguel passes by, maybe he's wearing a nice cologne. She's like, oh. How could you not? How could you not? How could you not? Her spiritual growth is going to stagnant. She's not going to grow anymore. Just get out this robe and go and live your life. Go and kiss a boy or something like this. Hold hands, share an ice cream, smooch, do something. Spiritual adultery. Her body holds the shame, there we go, of loving in ways that violate her deeper spiritual commitments. It's because we are still living on ideas that were created by some people, I don't know, 5,000, 4,000, 2,500 years ago. These people are dead, okay? They're dead and gone. Let's evolve beyond spiritual dogma or religious dogma into awakening to our spiritual magnificence, into awakening that we are the face of divinity. When God looks at itself through and as us every single day, God says, oh, I'm so pleased with what I've created as you, because I get to experience myself through and as you. We're not here to live in shame. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. I am unworthy. Why? Why this? Who says this is cute? These people who, I am unworthy, but without you. These are the most vile humans. They do the most vile things. The stuff that comes out of their mouth, they're already in hell. They don't need to die to go to hell. They are dead already. And they are living in a hell that is hot. Human being, forgive yourself and get out of this ignorance. You are the face of divinity. And when God looks at itself as you, God says, oh, so pleased. So very pleased with what I've created. It will heal the shame. Okay? Human beings. The nature of human. Spiritual adultery occurs when we betray our sacred commitments through divided loyalty, secret spiritual relationships, or pursuing spiritual connection in ways that violate our deepest covenants. What is your covenant? Your covenant is you're here to align with the highest levels of God consciousness and evolve. Evolve from religious dogma that says you need to be pious in humility, yet you're a liar and you're sleeping with children and you've got all sorts of diseases and you, oh my God, all sorts of these strange things. If you know that you really are like to be sexually active, maybe you need to get out of ministry and go get your sexual stuff out of the way. And come back when you are ready. There's no shame in this. Why you want to shame yourself? You want to be a hoe? Go be a hoe. Live your life. Don't shame yourself either. If you get diseases, say, yes, now I've got diseases. Okay, now I'm ready to be clean. Let me get back into my spiritual practice now. Because you can't live a double life. It becomes you start fragmenting here. I am spiritual and you're all there on Instagram, spiritual on Instagram, but you're a hoe. It doesn't make sense. You start fragmenting. Pick one. One of my meditation teachers, S.N. Goyinke, said, you can't ride two horses at the same time. It took a long time to understand this. It really took a long time to understand this concept. You can't ride two horses at the same time. What does that mean? Does that mean that I cannot have a lover who's Shiva? What if I say I am a Buddhist meditator and I cannot love Jesus? Make up your own mind. For me, this is why I love my ascended masters, because when I'm struggling to grow in this area, I tap into my homeboy Jesus. I'm like, homeboy, you gotta help me. You gotta help me here. And when I need to sit and be still and equanimous, I tap into Shiva consciousness, or I tap into Buddha consciousness. But old ideas of spirituality says, no, you must only be Christian and tap into Jesus. You cannot learn from the Shiva consciousness. You cannot learn from Buddha's consciousness. Who said who? Said who? Did not God create all of these ascended masters? So why, if God created them and they are all here on planet Earth, said who can I not learn from these masters? Said who I cannot learn from Allah? My uncle, I was sharing yesterday with you that he was high up in the mafia. He went to prison, and in prison, I think he found Allah. So when he came out of prison, he used to take me to school every single day. And he used to chant, Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. He used to hold my hand. And I was a small little thing. And I honestly just love my uncle so much. And he'd hold my hand, walk me to nursery school. And on his walk to nursery school with me, he would give me these street smart wisdom, teach me, in prison, this and this and this. I can even still remember the conversations I used to have with him. But a lot of the times he used to chant, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Why can we not learn from the Muslims? The Muslims. Why can't we not learn from them? They pray 5 times a day. And in their praying, they go down and up. This is a yoga position. Go down and up. It's a yoga position. Go down and up. Why can we not learn from them? There's a lot of fat Christians who are sitting there, hallelujah, hallelujah, with sugar diabetes and all sorts of these things. Maybe you learn from the Muslims. Pray 5 times a day instead of gossiping 5 times a day. Pray 5 times a day, go down in a yoga position and come back up again. Why not? This is my question. Why not? If God created all of these people, why can we not learn from all of these people? Why do we need to keep ourselves in a box of fake perfection? Who created this idea of perfection? Okay, I'm getting high now. Let me calm down. Laugh at yourself, human being. Laugh at the madness that you put yourself into, thinking that you are being perfect for God. God woke up this morning and said, God doesn't sleep. But okay, let's say as human beings, God sleeps. God looks at itself and says, I love you. I am love. I created you from love. And until we start to understand that this life experience is for us to awaken to the love that we are, awaken to the divinity that we are, we keep harming each other for this idea of perfection. Oh, you're Muslim. I can't be with you. I can't be friends with you. I can't do business with you. I can't love you because you're Muslim. Why not? I learned from the Muslim. Allah Akbar. Go down. Yoga pose. Come back up. Yoga pose. Allah Akbar. I learned from the Hindu people. I learned from the Christian people. I learned from the Sufi people. I learned from the Buddhist people. Why not? Why not? We all can learn from each other because we are all here on planet Earth. And then maybe I can see, girl, I think you are being imprisoned in this religion. Maybe you can try something new. And then maybe you do try something new and you realize that there was good in what you learned in your spiritual practice, in your religion. You can take that, go and learn from something new and then mix it a little bit and create a spiritual practice that does not make you feel filthy and dirty and living in shame all the time. I do not live in shame. It's not my thing. I will tell you that Shiva is my lover. When I go to Shiva, I'm like, oh, Shiva, my lover, with his abs and his just equanimous statue. And when I'm dancing with Shiva, I don't have a problem. That energy coming through and as me, I'm like, yeah, Shiva. What's wrong with this? It's God as me. The nature of human. Okay, human beings. Embodiment practice. Sit in prayer or meditation position and feel into any areas where your spiritual life feels divided or secretive. Place your hands on your heart and ask, where do I betray my spiritual commitments through divided loyalty? Divided loyalty. Divided loyalty, in my perspective, is I am dividing my human experience from my spiritual walk. That is truly what divided loyalty means to me. It is not that I can learn from the Buddhists, I can learn from the Kamaic way, I can learn from the Christian people, I can learn from the Hindu people, I can learn from the Sufis, I can learn from the Muslims. That's not divided loyalty for me. That is embracing God consciousness as the whole. Hear me. Listen. That is not divided loyalty for me. That is embracing God consciousness as the whole. Divided loyalty is, in my perspective, not understanding that my human experience, my body desires, my journey here on planet Earth is a spiritual experience. And the only way you are divided is when you do not know that you are inherently a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body. This is how you become divided. This is why we have so many wars. My God is bigger than your God. Said who? Who is this God? Honestly, who is this God? There is only one presence, one power, one life. Whether that presence showed up as Allah, Buddha consciousness, Yeshua consciousness, Christ consciousness, Kamaic consciousness, it is still from the one source that is what? Love. So the division is not in knowing yourself. Cannot ride two horses at the same time. Well, when I'm in my human state, I'm hoeing there. But when I'm in my God state, hallelujah, hallelujah, and we're judging people. Okay? But you do the same things. This is the division. And it's this idea that we need to be perfect. Who said what is perfect? Even these holy books were written by whom? By whom? By whom? If your holy book says you must hate another person, another religion, another spiritual practice, I'm not really sure what. It's either you reading it wrong or your interpretation of it is wrong, because I'm not sure what kind of God would write a holy book or would send their Messiah or their teacher, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Yeshua, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Lord Shiva consciousness, which is Hinduism consciousness, to say to these consciousness, Islam, fight. What kind of a God would this be? Fight. No. Love. Embrace divinity as you, as me, as love. Embrace divinity as you, as me, as love. We wouldn't have all of these wars if we truly understood this. Because why would you want to harm love? Why would you want to judge love? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Okay, human being. How was that lesson, darlings? Sugar plum fairies, how was that lesson? Sit with that for a bit. And sit with your own understandings of spiritual perfection. Trying to be perfect. Remember a time maybe when you fell in love at church and you, or in your place of worship, and you judged yourself because that was not godly. Said who? Who gave us these ideas that limit us? Yes, I think laws, like the laws of Ma'at. The 10 Commandments were given as guidelines for us to be able to evolve into a higher version of our own truth, of the truth. But even that is like, okay. But when we try to be so perfect that we live in constant shame, who are you? Who are you becoming then? A person filled with hatred. Yeah? Because honestly, the shame builds so much self-hatred. It develops so much self-hatred in you because you inherently understand, I am trying to strive for this perfection, but I seem to keep failing. And then you have these stories that people are judging you. Maybe they're not even judging. Maybe they don't even care, which is the majority of the time. So I would like for us to just gently close our eyes, taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And let's just sit with what we heard. It might be shocking. Because so many of us, honestly, so many of us have been indoctrinated into this perfection when it comes to our experience of spiritual practice. Perfection. Perfection. And we have these ideas and these models of perfection that are so outdated, that are creating so much trauma in our communities. And we're grappling with these ideas of perfection. And from this place of our own imperfection and the shame of our own imperfection, seeming imperfection, there's so much violence that is enacted from that place of inadequacy, self-hatred. And what I'm inviting us to surrender to today is this idea that this presence, this energy, this wisdom, that maybe you call God, maybe you call the universe, maybe you call source, maybe you call it the field. This thing inherently is love. Maybe we can just give ourselves 10 minutes to contemplate that this thing is love. this thing that we call God is love. And maybe it loved itself so much, that it said, I want to experience this love. And so I am going to create all of these beautiful beings on planet Earth so that I can experience love. Because if you think about it, when you first loved a boy or a girl at church, when you felt that sensation within you of love, you wanted to share it with that person, right? So maybe this idea called God is truly love, because you respond in a loving way when you meet someone, or when you first met someone who you had a crush on. You felt like you wanted to share the love that was in you with that person. Maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't work out. It's okay. But from that understanding, we can truly understand where we come from. Love. So God loved itself so much that it said, wow, I want to create more of love. I want to experience more of love. So there you came. And you express the same kind of love. But somewhere along the line, along the way, you believed that love had to be perfect. You believed you had to be perfect. And that's where it all went wrong. All right. That's where the hurt started. That's where the war within. That's where the shame. So in this moment, I would like for us to just take a deep breath in through our nose and drop our shoulders as we breathe out. And if you'd like to put your hand on your heart at this moment, please do so. And you can just remember that you come from love. And that you are love. And because you come from love and you are love, you are giving yourself permission to forgive yourself. You can do this for yourself. You can forgive yourself for forgetting truly whom you are. You are the presence of love. So if you'd like to repeat after me, please do so by saying, I love myself. I forgive myself for imprisoning my mind and my life experiences with outdated ideas that keep me judging myself and keep me in shame. I love myself. I love myself. I honor myself. I love myself. I love myself. I deserve self-love. I forgive myself. For judging myself. For shaming myself. I love myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I love myself. I love myself. I forgive myself. I love myself. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And throughout the day, throughout this week, anytime there is a thought or a sensation or a memory that seeks to make you judge yourself for your spiritual journey, the choices you've made on your spiritual path, remember that you can turn into self-love. Remember that you can turn to the truth, being you come from love. You are love. And you can give yourself permission to forgive yourself for forgetting that you are love. Because God created itself so that it could experience love through and as you. There is a potential in the quantum field of love. And you come from that. This I have found on my journey. This understanding that I come from love, I am love, has been the healing balm for my own self, for my own judgment towards my spiritual understanding of who I am and my own growth spiritually. It truly has allowed me to be the woman I am today and embrace the whole, and fall madly in love with my lover Shiva and have no shame, and be in communion with Yeshua as my homeboy, my big brother, and be in devotion to Buddha consciousness, and the Divine Feminine. I invite you to that same awakening within you with ease and gentleness. And love for thyself. And throughout your walk, when you meet someone who is Muslim, be curious. With love. When you meet someone who is Hindu, be curious. When you meet someone who's Christian and you're Buddhist, be curious. From that curiosity, you will find that from love we originate. And we're all just trying to remember the love that we are. And what a beautiful world we can keep birthing on a daily basis when we truly remember that from love we come. And in love we remain. And everything that we're doing here on this planet is to remember that from love we come. And it is our mandate to remain in love and express that love. So, let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Forgive yourself. Grant yourself the gift of self-forgiveness. And remember to just put your hands on your heart and say, I love myself. I'm doing the best I can. And I love myself and I'm willing to grow. Please open up your eyes and smile at the experience of life. And laugh at the silliness of it all and how seriously we take it. Human being. Oh, the nature of human. Yes, laugh a bit. Laugh at yourself. It's not that serious. So, I thank you for being here with me. I love you long time. Love thyself. And remember, you are the face of divinity. When God looked at itself as you, it said, so good. So very good. I'm pleased with what I've created as you. Love yourself and forgive yourself. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Same time. I'm going to be early. So that I'm not rushing. Big kisses.